What up? It's Gribba. If you enjoyed this video and would like to help me become a full-time content creator, please like, comment and subscribe. This would help me out a lot. Today I will give you 10 tips to become a better live-staff PvP player. I will put a link to my build in the description below. My first tip will be about the playstyle and mindset. Healing in New World PvP is not that easy. Out-healing all damage the enemies do to your party is not what you should focus on. Instead, attack and crowd control enemies so they have to back up or die. While doing that, keep your party just healthy enough so the health potion cooldowns come back up before your allies die. Your best defense is offense. And for tip number 2, we will talk about attributes. There are 5 core attributes in New World: Strength, Dexterity, Intelligence, Focus and Constitution. The life staff only scales with Focus, but there's one more attribute that's important for any PvP player: Constitution. Give you more max health, so you don't die when people come after you or hit you with ranged attacks. I recommend getting 50 Focus first and then keep adding 2 points into Focus and 1 point into Constitution every level after that. And tip number 3 is all about your drip. Gear. I recommend using light armor at least at the early to mid game. I did some testing and sadly the 20% damage bonus from wearing light armor does not increase your healing done. That being said, the light armor has the best role in the game and you want to be moving as much as possible. The role that light armor provides is too good in PvP right now. I have not tested the heavy armor in late game scenarios yet, but I will be making an updated guide when I get there. Also, don't forget to use gems to enchant your gear. For your life staff, use diamond. For your secondary weapon, use amber. For your armor, use onyx. So we just talked about your secondary weapon, but what weapon do you need? I'll talk about my tip number 4, weapon pairing. You can pretty much use any weapon with a life staff. Currently there are no other weapons with focus scaling, so any weapon you pick will always be weak compared to the life staff. The cut pristine amber gemstone makes 50% of your weapon deal nature damage that scales off focus, so anything can work here. I use the ice gauntlet with entomb for survivability, ice storm for slows, and either ice pylon for extra damage or ice shower when you have trouble dealing with melee. Tip number 5 will be consumables. For consumables you need food buffs, health potions and mana potions. An important thing to note here is that you can only have one active food buff. The healing food buff is mostly effective outside of combat. That is why I recommend using a mana regeneration food buff, plus your best healing potion, plus your best mana potion for maximum results. When you unlock your 4th consumable slot, you can still use a health regeneration food buff for a little extra healing. Tip number 6, and the last one you can do without entering the battlefield, is talents. Your best abilities are Orb of Protection and Beacon. Both of them are used for burst damage, healing over time and applying buffs. The most important passives are Absolved and Blissful Touch. These make your light attacks cost no mana and heal every ally they pass through for 20% of your weapon damage. I've had the most success by using only those 2 active abilities, because there are so many great passive talents in both the healer and protector tree. If you want to see my full build, click the link in the description below. Tip number 7. Positioning. You are a ranged caster, so keep your range advantage over your opponents. Use your environment when possible to break your line of sight from ranged enemies and let them come to you. Bring a few friends to help you in battle and stay behind them. Your perfect positioning would be to stand behind your party members where you can hit all of them in a straight line, and at the end of that line should be an enemy. This way your attacks travel through all of your allies and still hit the opponent. Your light and heavy attacks as well as your Orb of Protection explode positive effects on impact with an enemy, but will travel through all of your allies. Try and utilize this as much as possible to increase your healing output while also dealing tons of damage. Tip number 8. Aiming. Your attacks have some travel time, so aiming where you think your target will be is a big part of your aiming strategy. And even though your attacks look like they deal splash damage, they actually do not. The splash is for healing and buffing only. When maximizing your damage, you need to hit the projectile directly on your enemy. If you absolutely have to heal yourself or your allies, it's easier to aim for the ground to hit with the splash. Switching between hitting the enemies with the projectiles directly, aiming for the ground to only heal and buff yourself or allies with greater accuracy, or hitting the enemy while also piercing your allies, is crucial if you want to master the life staff. Tip number 9. Using your resources. There are 3 resources you need to manage while in combat. Your first resource is mana. You need to play around your light and heavy attacks, talents, secondary weapon, and consumables to make sure you don't run out of mana. The second one is health. Hit yourself with the splash of your attacks and abilities by hitting your allies, close range opponents, or the ground. Hitting the ground with beacon while hiding behind an object is a good way to restore your health. And don't forget, healers use health potions too. Your third resource is stamina, which is used to block or dodge. You want to wait a little bit after your first roll to regenerate at least 1 stamina. This will allow you to roll 3 times before you run out of stamina. When you do run out of stamina, it regenerates a lot faster, so try and use all your stamina on rolls while at range to keep your distance from melee opponents while pressuring them. Tip number 10. The mechanic that separates the pros from the casuals. Animation cancelling. There are multiple ways to cancel animations in New World. For your main damage animation cancels, you start with a light or heavy attack and use your orb of protection or beacon ability immediately. This makes it look like you shoot 2 projectiles at once and increase your burst damage or healing potential. For mobility purposes and overall quickness while fighting, you need to learn to swap or sheath your weapon while rolling. This removes a substantial amount of ending lag on the roll animation and is even faster than running. A little bonus tip for the Ice Gauntlet users: you can roll out of your entomb and either use an ability while rolling to instantly throw down the ability, or roll out of entomb and swap your weapon to get a faster escape than the enemies expect from it. These were my 10 tips. I hope you learned something. Have a wonderful day.